So as I'm going through the woods this morning, for some reason, the theme of manipulation and manipulators came up for me. And I've spent a lot of time, I guess, unfortunately, around a lot of manipulators. If you're in business long enough, you come across them. They're kind of everywhere in life. And I spent about 10 years as a pro bono lobbyist up at the Rhode Island State House, and that place has probably the largest concentration of manipulative manipulators as any place I've ever been. And I was up there as a pro bono lobbyist doing some industry-related work. Never got paid for it, never wanted to. But anyway, I learned a lot about manipulators, and one of the things that I learned is that they have a couple of tools that they use all the time. And if you are thinking that you might be in the presence of a manipulator who's trying to twist some things and get you confused, here's a couple things to look for. How fast are they speaking? Manipulators use a lot of words. They speak fast. They also deflect things. When you start narrowing in on them, you might hear a lot of yeah, buts, or maybe even them trying to turn some things back on you to distract you, to get you off their trail. And what I've really learned about them is where you can find what it is that the manipulator is purposefully trying to hide is in what it is that he or she does not say. What are they avoiding? And when I sense that that's going on, what I do is I start to get pretty specific with the questions that I'm asking, because I'm looking to block out escape routes for them. Now, obviously, I rarely get a manipulator to admit that they were lying to me or what have you. But what happens is after a while, you ask a question and they dodge it or deflect it. You rephrase it, you ask it again and wait for them to answer, and you slow the conversation down. What'll happen is you will be able to see the truth in the spaces of what they are not saying. And you don't have to get them to admit it. You just have to know that you know where it is. And then you can kind of move on, because one of the things with manipulators is you may not want them to know that you are exactly on their trail, because they're just going to up their game and look to confuse you even more. So as I'm going through the woods, I realize that there's a similarity with what goes on in the woods, and to see where the action really is happening. We've all heard the statement of you can't see the forest for the trees, and basically what it's saying is, look for the forest. Well, I spend a lot of time in the woods. I do a lot of deer hunting up in Pennsylvania and a bunch of other places, but the action in the woods is not necessarily in the forest or in the trees, but where you see it is in the spaces between the trees. And what happens is you begin to get trained in looking between the trees, because that's where you might see a part of a deer, a twitch of a tail of something that you want to take a look at and see what it is. And as a result, I've seen some really cool things in the forest, because I look between the spaces in the forest, because that's where the action's going. And I'm reminded by a statement that I think it was Thelonious Monk, the famous jazz musician, said about music. And he said the music happens in the spaces between the notes. And that always struck me as an interesting truism. Made me think quite a bit. So if you're out there and you have a manipulator in your life, God bless you. But see them as teachers. Teachers to teach you how to learn the language and the methods of the manipulator, so that you can protect you and yours from them. So, thanks for playing. Look between the trees, and I hope you have a good day. This is Jeff Deckman, and I'm out.